Greetings, new hammer, middle hammer, and old hammer folks alike. I am Old Grumpy Wolf, aka Len at Midnight, and welcome to the Minibar Podcast. I'll be serving you up lots of awesome painting nerdiness, talking to other painters from around the web, and making silly mistakes like I just made that you won't see because it was off camera. And before we get started, I want to give a shout out to baselayer.com. I am not sponsored by them. I just post on their website. It is a social media site specifically for miniature painting. Your feed is not going to be full of cat pics and baby pictures. The feed is nothing but painted miniatures. So if you want to go check it out, post your minis, have fun with it, go check out thebaselayer.com. But tonight at the bar, we have with us, I believe it is pronounced Magnus Maegtig.
Well, close enough at least.
Okay. I'm assuming it's a Danish word.
It is.
Okay.
It is.
Is that your last name?
It isn't.
Okay.
It's just a handle I use for social medias because I have a very generic Danish name.
Okay.
So back when all Facebook and everything started, I had a lot of requests from, all kinds of people that weren't necessarily trying to link with me, but because the name was generic enough, So instead of having to sort a lot, I just changed it back then, and So only people that wanted to actually find me were finding me.
So it's kind of like here in the U.S., if you got the last name of Johnson and you try to search for like Bob Johnson, you wind up with 7,000 results.
Yes, except we are like a 60th of the population you are or something like that. But yes, basically the same.
Okay, well, I just said it, but where in the world are you located?
Denmark.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm from Denmark. Yep.
Okay.
So we kind of have, I would say, two parts. Either you're from Jylland, my side, or you're from Sjælland, the side with Copenhagen.
Oh, okay.
Of course, we have a few small islands and whatnot, but you're kind of connected to either one or the other in terms of cities. Yeah.
A friend of mine in high school, she was from Denmark. I always called it the
living where?
I don't remember where she was from, like in Denmark, but she was from Denmark, and she always said you're part of the the breakfast people, the Danish people.
Yes, very much so.
So to jump into the show, the first question I always ask my guests is, what got you into the hobby of miniature painting?
Ooh, it was so I knew about miniatures and whatnot from when I was a kid, but not really painting much or to any like higher quality at all. But we were kind of watching older brothers of friends and family and whatnot paint and to some extent play. But we were kind of a bit too young. And another thing is that all the rules are in English or a language that we didn't speak. So it's not like you could find them in maybe Spanish or whatever, but that didn't really help us.
Yeah.
So it wasn't translated into any Danish anyways. So being, 10, 12 years old and trying to figure through what is ordnance and what is, it's just, So the game was a bit tricky for us. So I think that's why it never really stuck.
Well, if it's not in your native language, I mean, the rule set is difficult enough to understand in your native language.
Yeah, and I think they had kind of like a gaming club and stuff like that. But as I said, we were kids, right? So you would kind of need your parents to drive you anyways, and a lot of the guys playing there were like older teenagers and adults, even back then. So it felt less of a thing for us, whereas maybe other hobbies were more for kids. So I knew about it, and as I've played a fair bit of Magic the Gathering, naturally through that kind of local game shop, it's you have kind of circles that overlap in terms of other people playing and painting and whatnot. So some of my friends were painting and playing and stuff like that as I became an adult. And then at some point I had a breakup and I needed something to kind of, first off take my mind off things, but also kind of like a hobby where you're in full control. Like you don't need a partner to go play badminton or football or whatever. You don't need a team. You don't need a partner. You don't need, like, it's a bit boring playing chess alone, right? So, whereas,
it's technically cheating because you always know what the opponent's going to do.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's just, so in this hobby, you just get to sit down, do your thing. And if you want to spend 10 minutes, you spend 10 minutes. If you want to spend 10 hours, you spend 10 hours, and anything in between, right? And I have a friend that back then was painting Dungeons and Dragons models.
Oh, okay.
Well, they were all kinds of models, but specifically for Dungeons and Dragons games. And seeing others do a thing, and you're like, I can do that. So I kind of, I was sleeping on his couch for a bit back then. So I spent, I'd say roughly the first month or so, kind of grinding through content. YouTube is full of it. You can find almost anything. And
so this was back in the 2000s.
No, this was 2018, so it's not that far back. Yeah, and I was just, and when you find a bigger channel, there's so much content, so it's not like you're not running out of it at any point. So it just, was watching how to paint, what kind of brushes to get, what kind of paints to get, and whatnot. And he had some stuff that I could kind of try out. So I tested on a couple of models, and I was like, yep, I think I can do this. And then it's kind of ever evolving from there, right?
I found before I got back into this, like I was slowly getting back into Warhammer again in like 22 and 23. I check in like what Games Workshop was doing every so often, or pull up a random video on YouTube here and there through like the 2000s and 2010s, or it was mainly 2010s. But you find that like one YouTuber that just like really just kind of kicks it off for you, like one or two YouTubers where you're just like, this is good stuff. And they just kind of push you over the edge. And I bring her a lot up on the show, but like Louise from Rogue Hobbies was one of them. Ed from Minisodes was one of them. I love that dude's videos, but just like seeing the old Hammer scene was like still going, and it was thing pushed me over the edge. So I can totally relate. You find that the one or two YouTuber that has great content and just ticks the box. You're like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, and especially because I think it's a matter of like kind of getting hooked the right way. So, for example, in the beginning, I was watching some of Duncan Rhodes, right? Because, he's showing, to be frank, not too much of the painting, but a lot about what colors to use and putting into words what to do with a brush.
Was this back when he was at Games Workshop or when he left?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was. And then I found Dr. Faust,
I remember that one.
No, he painted mostly also kind of like Dungeons and Dragons models and stuff like that. Or still does, I guess. And it kind of fell right into that kind of space where I was at.
Yeah.
So it's not beneficial, I think, finding a channel where, let's say, someone is really skilled and doing amazing things, but it's not to your level.
Yeah.
Or they are mainly airbrushing and you're not going to because you're just starting. Or they are, I don't know, scale modeling and you're going to do, figures. And so I think it matters quite a lot that you find the right one.
Well, actually, I'll argue on the scale modeling thing. Like when I had COVID in 21, I would just lay on my couch behind me, like just bundled up and create playlists. And I somehow got into scale modeling videos, and they were just really relaxing and soothing. They were easy to watch, and I could fall asleep for a couple hours, and they would still be on when I woke up. But funny thing was Marcel from I still can't think of his name. Not Midwinter Minis. I can't think of the channel. He's been bugging me. He's like, dude, you need to do a video on how you make your display bases. I'm like, dude, I just watched a bunch of scale modeling videos. I kind of don't want to, because like when I get into doing these, I just want to bang them out, get them done, stick the minis on them, and forget I ever painted anything. So the scale modeling thing does it helps. It really relates to like scenery building in the 40K hobby.
Yes.
And, I think a lot of people kind of don't really think about like scale. Oh, maybe I should watch some scale modeling videos. Those train guys obviously know what they're doing.
Yeah. I mean, Night Shift is notorious in terms of what we talk about in community, because every time a new Night Shift video drops, it's like, ooh, have you seen this one? Because a lot of it is, if not directly applicable, then at least mostly directly applicable. Also for a lot of our community, they are like Warhammer display painters, right? But it's still, same things apply, right? Okay.
I don't know. You sort of touched on it, but you mentioned like it was. There was kind of a language barrier there, and I was thinking like I remember GW packaging when I went to the UK with my mom and my parents, or my parents to visit family over there. I remember seeing Games Workshop boxes in the 90s over in Europe, and they had like 5 different languages printed on them, where here in the US it was just English and Spanish.
Yeah.
Over there it was like 17 different languages. I'm like, how do you fit all this onto the box?
And you have to sort for the one that sounds most like yours, because exactly. Especially because the wording is oftentimes foreign anyways, or like very specific to a universe or faction or whatever. So it's like, which one is even mine?
Well, I mean, at least like all the names of the different I can't brain it. I have the dumbs. At least all the different species in Warhammer 40,000, especially the Imperium. It's all Latin based now, so at least it's like the majority of languages in Europe and America, they're Latin based. But
basically the same. Yeah.
To actually go to the question, did you get into the hobby because of gaming or painting?
Purely painting.
Okay.
I had an idea, so I started painting a bit, and because I wanted to use it as a kind of like a therapy relaxation thing, right? So it was always kind of focused.
And this was in the 10s, right?
No, it was 2018. It was May 2018.
Okay, yeah, so it was in the 10s.
Well, yeah, late 10s, and I kind of never were thinking too much about the gaming side. At some point, I was like, you know what, I can do 750 points of something, just to link up with the other guys and to talk about minis and whatnot, and I'd say after painting a couple of models or maybe 5 or whatever, I immediately knew I'm not going to. It's I don't know. It's too samey. It didn't give me the because it's also an artistic outlet, right? So I wanted to do different things, try different colors, try different techniques, and I definitely wanted from the beginning to evolve my painting, right? So as I'm watching all of the content, I'm like mindful that these specific ones are the ones that I'm probably going to use and kind of copy and mimic and try and take from. But at the same time, I'm using, back then I think I used mostly actually Pinterest, and seeing all of these amazing pieces of art, right? You see the Cold of Paint stuff, you see someone like Richard Gray, someone like Flamia, and so on and so forth. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, so this is what I want to approach, and I didn't, I didn't fully grasp what it would take. I was thinking, you know what? Okay, I can spend 10 hours on a thing, and turns out it's not 10 hours; it's more 100. But you know, at least I had in my sights. Okay, so this is the direction I want to go, and that meant I kind of almost immediately shut down the idea of ever getting to game anything.
Yeah.
I was still playing Magic too.
I played 40K twice. I'm just like, this is not fun. I want to go paint.
I mean, I just had my social outlet through Magic anyways. So because of Magic the Gathering, we could, you know, so if you wanted to play something and have some fun and either you could be more or less crunchy with it, right? I still had that, right? So it's not like I wasn't craving that part at all. So it wasn't, you know, anything that I've really considered. I will say that I think people being able to bang out amazing paint jobs for Army is mind-blowing to me. Like, sitting through 1,500 points of something and
that's a lot
making making everything work, and like tons of details. Nothing is like, you can do some quicker techniques and whatnot, but you still have to put the effort in, right? And they are a special breed to me, at least, because
bloody hell, I couldn't imagine painting an army of Primaris. Like, they take me so long to do as it is. I'm like, I'm doing one and about 6 more marks, like regular Mark 7s after this, because I want to paint Old Hammer. Way more fun to paint.
Yeah. So it's purely painting, basically from the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the last couple of guests have been primarily, or it's been scattered, but like I'm gonna say like 2 or 3 out of my last, I don't know, 5 or 6 guests have gotten into the hobby specifically because of painting, and specifically because of like the artwork they saw in the books and stuff like that. So it's nice to hear, like, you're well above my pay grade with painting. It's nice to hear dudes like you have the same thing as me, where it's like, no, it's at 11 years old. I keep saying this in every show. I'm sure listeners are tired of hearing this, but I got my copy of Adeptus Titanicus Space Marine in a comic book trade, and I was just besotted with what I saw artwork and miniature wise in them. I was like, this is so cool. When it came to the rules, I'm like, I have no idea what they're talking about, but like the lore, all the hand drawn artwork, all the painted, all the you know, the painted miniatures. I was immediately hooked, because there was, at the time, there was nothing like it.
No.
So it's
I
nice.
think for us it was a matter of we didn't even really understand much of what was written inside. Even like, we could somewhat spell it out, but not really. And because of the language thing, we couldn't really understand anything. But we could look at the photos, right? Yeah. And back in the old magazines, you had those photos of the battlefields. They had a report and stuff like that. So we would be looking through the artwork. And as I said, a couple of friends had an older brother who, you know, we could sneak into their room and look at the army in their cabinet, and orcs everywhere, and some whatever they're called, killer cans and buggies and stuff like that. And it was just so cool to us, right? Yeah. Because it's like we were playing with you know, action figures and Lego toys and stuff like that, but they're, even back then, they weren't detailed to that level, right? And they were oftentimes, like, you know, crudely colored in or whatever. And so this was like a whole new world, but it kind of touched into the same coolness that we kind of enjoyed as kids playing with Legos or.
Oh, that always drove me nuts about, like, you know, you go to a comic book store or a collectible store, and they always have the, you know, the figurines, the busts and cases, you know, like the you know, like just the bust of a Wolverine or a Scarlet Witch or something like that, and they want astronomical amounts of money for these things, and it's like, this is painted like crap. Are you kidding me? Like, I'm paying $150, $200 for this bust so I can take it home, reprime it, and repaint it.
Yeah, you would almost have to, because it would annoy you so much.
Yeah, it's like, I can't have that sit on my shelf. No.
No.
And I get it with like action figures, like, they have to pump out, hundreds of thousands of them. But I will always give credit to them that because of Todd McFarlane toys that came about in the late 90s, you go get an action figure today, like if you're a fan of the movie Aliens, like going and buying like a xenomorph figure or something like that. The standard of painting that they've got on them now, that's done by machinery and then just barely hand done, it's gotten really good, especially compared to what we had in the 90s as kids. But still the same thing. It's like I
don't even know, like the 90s, it was some kind of acrylic and a sealer, I guess, and sometimes it was like so splotchy, and especially the whites were horrible because they had to put it on so thick. I don't know what these days I guess it is machines, right, that do the initial. I don't even know
the McFarlane 40K toys. I mean, you go look at those, like you buy them off the shelf, you're like, I'll take the gray one. I don't want the painted one. I'm going to take this home, pull it apart, and paint it. At least they did that with the 40K toys, that you can buy a solid gray one, so you can just take it home and paint it. Yeah, that's smart.
Yeah, loads have. Yeah.
So mentioning that you're way above like my pay grade as far as painting goes, I am very curious after looking at your miniatures. What kind of paints do you use?
These days I use almost exclusively AK.
Oh yes, we can go drinking.
I don't specifically think that it's hugely important what kind of paints you use. What I think is hugely important is that you kind of take your time to get to know them.
Yeah, the behavior.
So because every paint range is a bit different from the other. And even within the paint range themselves, you kind of have some of the colors that behave differently because maybe it's a yellow pigment and you had to put in a fair bit of white or something to make it cover. So now when it mixes, when it handles, when whatever is going on, it behaves slightly different from maybe your blues, who are more purely pigmented. And so it's like you just need to take the time to get to know the colors, the brand itself, and then the specific colors. More than anything, I think. I don't think there is really any brand that is superior. The content that I do, I try to be, pretty open about. It's not about getting these specific colors that I am using right now for this model. If you want to copy this 1-to-1, of course you can get them. But even then, it is much more about the way that you apply them. Than the actual color, right? Because it matters the transparency, it matters the ratios, it matters the even the brush stroking and whatnot. So it's so these days I'm on AK because I find that I like the way they handle. I like the thinness and the pigmentation, and it also allows me to stay within a single brand, mostly at least, and they're sold local to me, so I can get replacements and I don't have to order like full sets online or whatever.
I got into AK. My local hobby store finally started selling AK after Las Vegas Open. Like AK was at LVO, and my local store that I go to, they went. They've been, me included, people have been requesting, hey, can you get AK paints? So they went over to the AK booth and said, hey, do you want to sell everything you have right now here? So they took home everything that AK had from LVO and then put it in another order as well. And I was stoked to try them. And I found they were out of all the paints I used, they were the most difficult to get a handle on. But it was mainly due to how quickly they dry and like how much water you're supposed to use in them. Plus, like a buddy, my first guest, he told me the biggest part I was having trouble with was the paint kept gumming up in the brush. And he's like, oh yeah, dude, I rinse my brushes like every couple of minutes just to make sure that it doesn't dry in there. And after I figured all this stuff out, it's turned into one of my favorite brands, because the biggest thing with AK that I love is how consistent every paint is in its behavior.
Yeah.
Every single color I have
will agree.
works the same.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's one of their bigger strengths in general. So, as an example, I got a chimera set, the base one with the primaries, and the issue for me was that they specifically didn't behave the same. So I had to spend a lot of time kind of getting to know it. Much more than I had with Citadels or Vallejos or Reapers or any other brand that I tested out. And even to the point where I was like, you know what, I think I'll just stick to something where I can mostly grab a bottle and it kind of does the thing I want to.
Yeah.
Maybe I have to like mix it slightly just to get an off hue or whatever. But I also don't want to spend too much time mixing around and finding, like, if you don't have a skin color, for example, you can just mix it, of course, but it takes a bit of time, right, and a bit of effort. And especially making content, I think, unless you are making like that kind of content where it's teaching people how to mix and how to color match and stuff like that, if you're more producing content to follow a recipe and see how colors interact with each other on the model when they get applied, I don't think maybe it's the best, because it's quite hard to follow for if you use, for example, chimeras to do a lot of mixing and whatnot.
Chimera is the one they just have like, it's like 16 or 24 colors and that's it, and you kind of have to mix your own colors or something.
Yeah, I don't know how many they have now, because they had that they had a bunch of like artist sets come out, but so I don't know how many. But yes, they are almost like the first few ones were pure pigmented, and then I think maybe they have like the artist ranged ones are maybe a couple of pigments or whatever, something like that. But they're still purer. Which is good for, well, artistic reasons, that you can predict how they work. So they don't brown out or gray out or whatever when you mix them. But also it's like a specific skill that you have to train. Yeah.
Well, I worked since 2006 up until 2023. I worked in the vehicle wrap and like building wrap industry and sign shop stuff like that. And I've been in graphics most of my life, and I've been an artist my whole life. So like the whole color wheel thing has been a part of my life ever since I was like a kid. And the idea of mixing paints and you know, basically everything you were describing has been in my life, has been part of my life. And the whole thing with the printing industry is I had to learn how to color match, and like not by using like Pantone values, because those don't work on wide format printers. You have to learn how you got to learn the colors your printer doesn't like to make, and you got to learn how to make your printer make those colors.
Right.
So the color matching thing. I've talked to people about this whole concept before, and actually one of the guys at my paint night that I go to when I have time, he bought some chimeras, and he was really the only word that comes to mind, he was really chuffed about it. I don't know, it's a British word. He was really excited about them, and I didn't get why he was excited. And one of the guys told me some of the specifics about it, and a guest I had mentioned them, and I thought it was kind of a neat concept. But I can understand why, you know, from an entry level painter's point of view, they'd be difficult to use, because you're having to mix your own colors. And a lot of people I have talked to that are starting out, or just like beginners, or even some intermediaries, their understanding of color theory and the notion of mixing colors is kind of scary to them. And it's understandable. It takes brain power, and it takes a lot of getting used to. And you know, if you don't have a good concept of like primary colors and secondary colors and tertiary colors and the way how to mix all those out, it can be really difficult. And like, where as much as I don't really dig Citadel's paints, because I think they're too inconsistent in their functionality versus like AK or like Vallejo or Pro Acryl. At least like their color system, I think them and Army Painter have an excellent, you know, what the hell is it called? Their triad systems. where like you paint an ultramarine. Here's the 5 colors to do the armor. Here's the 3 colors to do the metallics, and here's the 3 colors to do whatever the reds. And it makes it very accessible for entry level gamers or entry level painters. Even there's this kid I brought on. I can't bring his name right now. Paint is Yummy, I think. He just uses exclusively Citadel, and he is really big on Citadel stuff. And he does, like, when he sits down and does competition stuff, he does box art perfect models. So
I mean, I did too
can be used for that. But I will agree with you. I like AK a lot. I started with Pro Acryl. I have some Pro Acryl left, but after I got into using AK, just the consistency of it is great, and the whole pigmentation thing of it's great. And this is an AK positive episode.
I mean, as I said, I don't think one is better than the other. I think it's a matter of
it's whatever works.
I never. Yeah, exactly. I never got along with Scale 75 as an example, but others really like them. They like their finish, and they like their colors, and they like their handling. I just never really did. And for a while, I was painting with almost exclusively Citadel. And I enjoyed painting with those. They were easy to use. They were like the colors fit with the models. Yeah. Because you're looking at the box and you're thinking, okay, well, I want to paint that blue thing. So you get the blue colors and it kind of fits, right? So you don't have to do too much guessing and too much, like, if you have to pick, let's say a blue from AK or Pro Acryl or whatever, you can land anywhere between, like an Ultramarine or a Night Lords or Crimson Fist or Space Wolf or whatever. So you can land anywhere in that range because they're all kind of blues, right? Whereas if you just pick the colors that they named something with the chapter, you probably get close, right? So for that reason, it is. I mean, I really enjoy that they are quite easy and they're accessible, right? Everyone has them. I'm frustrated with like the acrylic medium that Citadel is using. It's almost like a gel. It's to me, it's very strange to use. I still like their metallics a lot. Like I grew up using Citadel paints up until I got back into painting in 24 and started venturing outside. That was one of the biggest intimidation factor, was just the vast number of paint lines on the market. And I'm glad that there's so many now, because I've tried all the different, I've tried different colors from different brands to find what works for me. And I found that like Pro Acryl was very close to Citadel's 2000 formula. And that was my favorite formula that Citadel ever made. And then with the current formula that they had, I tried using them. I'm like, I can't get the hang of these paints. These are not like these are not what I remember. So Vallejo was really close to like 80s and 90s Citadel in a lot of ways. I found Pro Acryl by complete accident, and I found it was very close to 2000 Citadel, and then started venturing around. I couldn't find Space Wolf's Gray or Shadow Gray / Blue Gray from the 90s in the 2000s. So I actually managed to find it with Army Painters colors. So I have a lot of my colors. The reason why I like AK and Pro Acryl a lot is they match old Citadel colors that I grew up with and I had to throw away because they all dried out. So I have my whole thing back, plus a bunch of new colors that I love experimenting and using. But there's, as you said, there is no god tier paint line. No. Like we're fortunate that in this day and age we don't just have one paint line Citadel. We have like 10 or 12 of them, and you've got to experiment to find what works for you. You might find a red from this brand, you might find an orange from this brand, you might find a couple blues from these guys, and it's great to have variety because it helps you grow as a painter. You don't have to get stuck into one ecosystem and that's all you can ever use. No. And I think the only thing is that it's kind of double-edged, right? It's quite important that you keep on saying it's not about the brand. It is not about the brand. It is not about the brand or line or whatever. It is about how you use it, right? Because I think for I would say beginner painters or maybe not beginner, but painters that are kind of, okay, now they can fairly well paint within the lines. They oftentimes want to improve. How do you improve? Well, if you think it's about the tools and the paints more than anything, well, that is wrong, right? So if you don't have anyone to tell you, it's not like, no, you shouldn't be painting with a toothpick. Try and pick a nice brush, but it's not about if it's like an Artist Opus brush or a Raphael brush or a Winsor Newton brush or Rosemary Co or whatever. They are all great, and you can reasonably well use all of them. You might find a favorite, same with the paints, but it's not what makes it. It's not the wet palette that makes it. It's not like, it is the way that you end up handling the paints. It is nothing else, right? You can take any brand with any brush and you can create beautiful art. If you try, and I did it as an experiment, right? I tried to paint an entire model only using the Fanatics range, and it won a Golden Demon. So you can do it. It's just a matter of, like, you need to spend the time and the effort getting to know the paints.
Oh, one thing I think you might find this interesting. One thing I found lately that I've been really paying attention to, especially like when I do when I sit down to start painting chapters or do like tutorial videos, is that different types of different finishes of paints, like mattes versus satins, they interact differently with one another.
Yes.
So I found with like my Space Wolves, the tutorial video I did for that, I was initially ending the highlights with, this is for like just my display models. This isn't for competition, but for like the Space Wolves tutorial, I found that using Pro Acryl white wasn't giving me like the finish, like the edge finish that I wanted. So it was like, no, these are all satin based paints. I'm gonna try Vallejo, just Vallejo white, and it worked perfectly. It was exactly the, you get water in there and you edge highlight it, and it dries a certain way. Like it almost dries with like a soft edge, whereas like a matte paint on a solid matte paint edge highlight on a satin based paint is gonna dry with a hard edge. Yes, and I've been finding that like. When I do my Space Wolves for competition, I start with War Painter. I forgot the two names of the paints, but basically Blue Gray and Space Wolf Gray. Work up my highlights, and then I do the old Kim Cyberg style, where I go up to like a pure white, but that's when I break out Pro Acryl white, because that's when I start getting into heavy. Because
it's softer.
It's when I start getting into heavy layer glazing, and matte white layer glazes a lot better than satin white does.
Okay.
Just in my own experience,
I don't really glaze with white. It always goes chalky on me. So
well, it's we'll chat a little bit about this later. It does go a little bit chalky for me, but like if I add a couple layers, it helps with that. But it goes away when I clear coat it.
Yes, of course. Okay.
Yeah. So that I always have to keep that in mind. I'm like, this doesn't look right. You're like, no, you've done this a million times before. As soon as you hit it with a clear coat, it's going to actually look normal again, because you've got a satin underbase with a matte final edge highlight that's been layer glazed out about 10 times. So
right.
Cut it out. You know what you're doing. Stop questioning things. Yeah. But I'm sure I'm sure you've noticed that like different finished paints interact differently with each other.
Yeah, and another thing is that even the way that you like use the paints, sometimes, let's say you well, as a specific example, I had a model, a Troggoth, like a big troll, and I was doing a fair bit of glazing on it to get the hue shifts in the shadows and whatnot. And what ended up happening was, because I was thinning the paints with water so much, and sometimes it would sit, like I would make a palette one day, use it, let it sit, next day go back to it, mix a bit in it, and then paint on. I actually ended up breaking down the paints. So the paints that are kind of consisting of a binder and like an acrylic binder. There are some retarder agents in. There are water in, of course, pigments in. You have some matting agents, stuff like that. And when you kind of break it down, you can break these components so they don't have the right ratios. So suddenly your normally, let's say, satin matte paint actually turns into a gloss paint,
Yeah.
Because you've broken down the matting agent so much, because you thinned it out, or it seeped as you had it on the palette or whatnot, because it splits, right? It wants to split. So I actually ended up having areas where it was, too glossy, because I had glazed over with a paint that had eventually mostly gone to a gloss paint.
Yeah.
So it is about like trying things and figuring out and knowing when too much is too much, and so it's an art form in itself, like the whole brush handling, not only brush control, getting the paint where you want, but also how you handle a brush and the paints on it, right?
Yeah, I started really watching, getting back into painting after being away for so long and just learning all the stuff I'd had through the business I run, plus working my day job that I had doing print shop stuff. I really just started paying attention to the behavior, because like in the print shop, like gloss vinyl, satin vinyl, matte vinyl, silver vinyl, the ink from the printer works differently on the vinyls. And I just kind of trained my mind that, like, while I was sitting there painting, I was like, I really started taking notice of like the behavior of the paints that I'm using for my models. And I can understand, starting out, you're not going to see this because you just simply don't have the experience
of course
with it. But it's really cool to hear from someone like you that you get to a certain level with your painting and what you do, especially if you start paying attention to behaviors and you really start looking at details about the paints, about what you're doing, about the way the paints are on your palette and stuff. Like, I use a dry palette, so it's a little different for me, but you start paying attention to all these silly details that you never thought you'd ever seen like 10 years ago. Now you're just like, oh, great, I can never unsee any of this.
Yeah.
Wunderbar.
Yeah. And it's a matter of, at some point, you're like, well, it depends on your end goal, right? But if your end goal is to push it, let's say, into competition painting, for example, well, you kind of need to look at these things, because it will look off in some way. You have different kind of finishes, so you want to present a work in the best way, in the most like harmonious and readable way, right? So it might be that in the beginning you can't really maybe articulate what is going on, but you can tell something is off, and at some point you then evolve into, okay, so this is the issue, and then you evolve into, okay, when I have this issue, this is how I fix it.
Yeah, that's actually what you just said right there. Is like, I've done this most of my life. My biggest thing is I've broken things, and then I learned how to fix them. Yeah. And that's why I get good at what I do. I spent most of the last 11 years when I was at my last job, I had to deal with a lot of other designers' work coming to us for printing. So I had to learn how to fix their artwork in order to print it.
Yeah.
And most designers
half of painting terrible. Is that, right?
But that plays into your own painting. If you learn how to fix your own problems, you're going to learn a lot learning how to fix your own problems.
Yes, of course. Yes. And it's inevitable. When you watch a tutorial, most often you don't get to see the mistakes. You see someone painting a thing, right? And it oftentimes also looks very linear. But in actual painting, it's not that linear. And I pride myself in quite clean work. It's quite straight, quite clean, very readable. Yeah. But it's not like I don't make any mistakes. I do. Oh, yeah. I make mistakes all the time when I paint, and I then go immediately back, fix it. That line is too wonky. This one is too fat. This one is whatever is going on, right? Or this color is not right. I need to paint it over. Then I do that, right? So it's half of the painting, or maybe 20% or something of your painting is fixing what is not working, right?
Well, I think in a lot of ways, like this is like a societal view. Social media has really messed up people's abilities to understand that mistakes are made. What you see on social media, it doesn't matter if it's your friends or if it's people that you look up to doing whatever hobby or whatever interest you have, especially like the big YouTuber, or like on YouTube, the big YouTubers, or just the big names in social media, whatever hobby you're into. You have no idea the hell they go through in the background to do what they do that they're showing on video, or to get to the point where they're able to show this on video. You know what? You know, they break it down. Something might take videos 20 minutes of some dude, you know, building the motor, but never mind. He's been doing this for the last 15 to 20 years, and he's screwed it up a lot. Or I had a couple of people say to me with my Space Wolves tutorial, they're like, dude, you do that so fast. You make it look so easy. How do you do that? I was like, because I've been painting on and off for 30 years. You know, like my tutorial videos, I hate doing tutorial videos because they take like 5 to 10 times as long for me to do one miniature. That Space Wolf in that video, I could bang him out in 2 or 3 evenings, working 6 to 8 hours an evening. I'm not a fast painter. I'm not trying to gloat like, oh my God, I'm like so good and so fast at all. But for me to get to that point, I've had a lot of mistakes. And
absolutely.
I mean, you're a multi-time Golden Demon winner. It's a thing I'm never going to do in this lifetime. But, you know, you show something that you do, you know, people are like, oh my God, that's so good. It's like, well, yeah, I've committed a huge chunk of my life to this. I'm just assuming by your shirt, this is now your career as well. So that's what I'm trying to do. But at the same time, just social media has screwed up people's abilities to understand that, you know, it takes a lot to do something really well. You have to commit yourself to it fully. You're not just outside of the random child prodigies. You're not going to get good overnight.
No.
And part of the biggest part of the journey is, or the biggest part of the final outcome is the journey. That's where you learn, and you have to, you know, I've heard a lot of painters say like, I was at LVO in January talking. They had a smoking area outside, and obviously I vape, so I had to go outside to vape, and I'd go out there with my whiskey and vape for a while, and I just talked to random people, and there was numerous people that like, they're like, oh yeah, I love playing, and I just hate painting. I can't do this. It's too hard. I can't do it. And it's like, that kind of sucks because you're missing out on this like wonderful expressive opportunity to make this thing yours. But a lot of folks are like, you know, it's just too hard. It's too long of a journey. And it's like, well, how many hours have you put into playing Warhammer? Oh, I've been playing for years. Well, it's the same with painting, dude. Well, I just want to play. I hate painting. And so like, oh, dude, God. And there was a guy who was, he asked me about my Orlick Slayer at LVO. He's like, how much time did you spend painting this? I was like, I don't know. I lost track after about 30 or 40 hours. I took all month to paint it. I officially hate this model now because I've looked at it so much. But
I mean,
social media has just... Go ahead.
Yeah, the latest project I finished, I think it was Reddit. I think this comment was on Reddit. But I don't think it's deliberate. Or most of the time, I don't think it's deliberate. I think it's because when you upload something, either Facebook, Reddit, Instagram, wherever it's going, no one is really like trying to show their work in the worst light, of course.
Yeah.
And you only get to show a snapshot.
It's like, right? I didn't get to show you the ugly phase.
Well, but it's just to say that it's not like, and we aren't putting 4 pages of text explaining everything and blah, 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 because no one wants to read it. It's social media. You just scroll through and you look at the photos and so on and so forth. So I don't think it's deliberate, but I had someone comment something I should throw out my brushes or whatever.
Oh,
which is it's a normal, and I think it's kind of like hyperbole always, but it's one of those comments where every time it happens, I respond back. Just remember, I do this full time. I spend over 100 hours on the project, and I have dedicated about 10,000 hours of my life to this specific thing.
And that's being conservative.
Sure, but it's just to say that if you think you shouldn't be, partaking in the same hobby, but your dedication is like 100th or 1,000th, then it's not really fair to yourself or to anyone else, right? It's like, why are you comparing? Like, you're a hobby runner and you're comparing yourself to an Olympian. That's just not very fair. And everyone knows that in that context. But because of the painting thing where everyone can grab a brush and paint something, it's almost like the dedication kind of takes a back seat. It's like no one is talking too much about it when you just post these pictures and just, share whatever recipe or technique or whatever it is. Most of these people who come up with fantastic artworks or techniques or whatnot, they also spend a lot of time getting there.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, there's well, just a well-known old saying: you have to learn how to fail in order to succeed.
Yes.
And most people are, a lot of people are very scared of failure. And it's like, no, you got to learn, you got to get your butt kicked numerous times before you can before you can land that first punch. And,
I mean, lots of medium models before you bang out a real great one.
Yeah.
Right. That's just the nature.
You know, my suggestion to people like that, you know, get off social media and go to your local events where people paint, you know, go to local competitions and enter your models, and you'll find guys like us there. And guess what? We're not going to talk down to you. We're not going to make you feel bad. We're going to help you. We want to, you know, like, ask us any silly questions you have. We're not 9.5 out of 10 times. We're not going to be a jerk about it. You're going to lifting people up that's one thing I just absolutely love about this hobby and career path I've chosen for myself now. Is I could not believe the warmth and uplifting attitudes that everyone involved in the painting community has. You know, outside of the
it's amazing.
Outside of the cesspool that's Reddit, every social media, the Instagram and Facebook, the groups I'm part of on Facebook, everybody's like, dude, that's so cool. Like, hey, how do you do this? How do you do that? Oh, dude, I'm gonna be able to paint like that. Yeah, just keep practicing. That's all it is. Like, I don't see anybody downing on each other. It's just, it's the complete opposite of the car scene, what I was dealing with earlier today, and why I was 15 minutes late starting the show. Today was just not a pleasant day for the brand I run, and I'm trying to sell. Just so much negativity and just people and their snarky attitudes, and it's like, I'm glad I'm leaving that world. I don't miss that world. I like this world where all these amazing artists that I have on the show, you included, any painters I meet, even like you were talking, mentioned something earlier, and there's just like 13, 14-year-old kids that go to paint night, and one of them asked me like, oh my God, how long did that Blood Angel take you to paint? I was like, I don't know, like 2 or 3 evenings. Like, the kid was like, oh God, I do my models in 20 minutes. I was like, yeah, well, when you get better, you'll spend more time, but you're just starting out. But just, you know, we all bust each other's balls at paint night, but everybody's uplifting. Everybody's happy to be there. Everybody was like, dude, hey, I'm having trouble with this. How do you do that? And like 3 guys are like, oh, hey, I can help you with it. It's just great. I mean, sorry, I'm like totally just gloating about how awesome this is, but like even guys like you who are multi-time Golden Demon winners.
Yeah, but I wasn't always.
Yeah, but having you on my show, the fact that you actually came to talk to me, and I'm still trying to get somewhat to where you are. You know, that just speaks worlds about the way this community functions. And for those watching that are starting out painting or frustrated with painting, get off the internet and start interacting with people and go to competitions and talk to people, because you know what? We were all where you were at one point in time, and we love helping.
Yes. Yeah, and I will say that I haven't met anyone I mean, maybe it's different from the gaming side where you actually have an opponent, then it can get competitive, I guess, and whatnot. I don't know. I'm not on that side of it, but it feels like on the painting side, even when we're talking competition, people aren't really competing that like directly against each other.
Yeah.
So everyone is like positive. Everyone is like, of course you can have a bit of a downer when you didn't do as well as you wanted to, but probably some of your friends did, right? So it's like no one is really like overall negative. It's because we're not against each other.
Yeah.
We are painting our best. We already did, you know, the competition part of it at home. And then you present your stuff and you talk about the cool minis and how did you do that and how did you do this and so on and so forth. Which one is your favorite? And, you know, everyone is kind of like coming together over this specific thing that is painting models. Yeah. Right?
I think that my only thing is like I walk into LVO and I see who's on the table and I'm like, oh yeah, you're gonna win. You're first, you're second, you're third. Okay, if I take a little bronze or silver coin, I am completely happy. Like if I'm going to Adepticon in 26 with my gal and I'm entering some of my stuff, and if I come home with a pin, I will probably pee a little bit. I'll need a little towel to cover up. That's my dream. I know I'm never gonna place with my painting, but it's been my dream to enter Golden Demon since I was a kid. And now that they've made it so inaccessible, because it's only in one place in the country instead of 4 like they used to have, one was like 4 hours away, just going and entering my stuff and seeing it in the display case, and maybe seeing somebody post a story, hey, Old Grumpy Wolf, I saw your thing in the cabinet, it looks great, and maybe having a pin next to it on Sunday, I would lose my mind. But just the experience of being there with so many other painters would be cool as hell.
Yeah, and it's almost like a ticket. You get to put a thing, and now you have a talking point. Everyone you meet, you're like, okay, so what did you bring? Yeah, this and that. And what did you bring? Yeah, I brought this thing. And so you have something to connect over, right? It's like, it is the first like gateway is to put something.
Yeah.
Put it in the cabinet, and now you're kind of more invested, right? It's not like you can have a passion for it. Go to the show, look at the models in the cabinets, which one is favorite, so on and so forth. But at least to me, it feels like as soon as you put something in cabinet, you're just that bit more invested, right? And you kind of have something that you share with the others there. Yeah. Even if you know going into it, sure, I'm not about to take a Slayer sword, right? You can be realistic about it.
Oh, if I ever got a Slayer sword, I think I would have a heart attack.
Yeah.
Moving along in the show, with your level of painting, I've been very curious. What kind of clear coat or varnish do you use to finish your models, or do you use it at all?
Yeah, so this is a bit of a funny one, because in the beginning I used nothing, no varnishes, no anything. I just painted the models, and then they had a certain finish. And then, as we talked about, I found the more I kind of glazed and tried to refine things and so on and so forth, I could get differences in finish. So I would have maybe some areas that were a fair bit more matte, because maybe you use more of your highlight colors, which are maybe whites or whatever, and they go a bit like chalky matte. And then if you glaze some areas with, for a filtered hue or something, they turned maybe a bit almost like glossy. So I found that it annoyed me enough so that I started varnishing. Specifically, I used, I think it's just AK matte, not the ultra matte one, but AK matte. Just from a rattle can, trying to be as careful as possible to not, get cloudiness or whatever, because it can be quite tricky. But I don't ever airbrush anything. Okay. So I did that for, I'm trying to think, maybe 3-4 projects, something like that. And then I actually found that I'd rather brush varnish. So these days, if I have tricky, unless it's, most of the model is, having these variations in finish, I will brush everything. Okay. But if it's just like, it turned a bit too shiny here, or I need to knock back the chalkiness of another area or something like that, I will just brush varnish. So I have a gloss satin and a ultra matte varnish, and I will put a bit of each in a well palette and apply them as I go over the model in a finishing stage.
Oh, that's cool.
To kind of try to bring things together and not risk destroying the colors, because the varnish will for sure alter the look. Yeah. So the depth and for example, of shadows can be killed a bit. The saturation of midtones can be killed a bit. Yeah. And highlights will sometimes, almost like blend together a bit more. So it's almost like an industry trick to ultra matte varnish your models, because it pulls everything together. Yeah. Because what it does is it's dispersing the light. Yep. So it's basically putting a slight blur filter. Yep. But it also gives this very certain look. So unless you're going for that specifically, I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah, some of my guests have talked about like they don't like to varnish their models, like especially for those of us who use like genuine actual metallics. Like I don't mind I don't mind the varnish look of my metallics. Actually, I think it makes it look a lot better. But some people just do not like what it does to their true metallics. And you just mentioned something that I wanted to touch on. So in the 2000s, the Citadel matte varnish, it turned yellow after about a decade and ruined almost all my models from the 2000s.
Oh,
yeah. Like all 4 of my competition pieces are done. I have to, they're just yellowed out. But I found that with the new Minotaur and varnish, I don't run into the, I don't run into the haziness, like where it collects and turns white. I'm really actually very impressed with how clear their clear coat actually stays. And if you know how to, if you're familiar, if you know how to like play with, like where you hold your miniature in the misting stream, you can actually get, you can dust the model at the end of the stream and actually get a matte finish. And you don't have to worry about that fogginess that occurs when a matte builds up in a crevice.
Yes, exactly. I think so. The tricky thing is, well, first off, some of varnishes out there are not great.
No. 2000 Citadel, I learned that.
Yeah, it's just the truth. Some of them aren't great. But also, kind of like if you're rattle can priming like I am, you need to be quite careful, because you can definitely end up with, let's say you hold it too close and you get this goopiness, or if it's a varnish, you get the buildup and the cloudiness. But also, temperature is a thing. Yep. Humidity is a big thing. If you accidentally varnish something in a soft layer and you're thinking, I'll just varnish on top of it, and it traps a bit of, let's say, humidity because you're doing it, well, inside or outside. It could be both, actually. And now you have basically trapped inside of your 2 coats a bit of humid air, and it might not disperse fully. So there are some factors to consider for sure. And I would say to not varnish your models if you can get a nice finish without. But of course, it's still better to varnish a thing than have really uneven finishing, unless it's, of course, like you want a wet tentacle or something. You give that a glossy finish, or
you could just do that. You could do that post varnishing.
Yes, exactly. Yes. So you wouldn't varnish everything over in the end. You would varnish everything, and then you would build your effects. Yep. Glossy or wet effects, and you can play with matting too. So it's like for true metallics, for example, you can definitely matte varnish them into the shadows so they lose the shine as it kind of curves away on the volumes.
I had a buddy of mine trying to convince me with that with my LVO entry I sent you. He's like, dude, you should try non-metallic metallic. I'm like, not on this model. No. I'm not.
Yeah, maybe not a competition piece that you really want to do good on. If you're not like experienced, I don't think a competition piece is maybe the best choice for something you try out and mock about. And
I made a really bad. I'm finally getting a handle on like doing like golds properly, like the way that I want to do them. And I've got it down pat for my Space Wolves. But like the goal, I was trying to do that same thing with my current entry, and it just was not jiving. And I totally forgot about snakebite leather contrast paint. I spent about 20 or 30 minutes messing around on YouTube and Google's, just pulling up different examples of like heavy metal style gold and like how do you do your gold this, how do you do your gold that. And one video was like he actually used the same colors I do, retributor gold, and it used to be called shining gold, mithril silver, and what was that? Snakebite leather used to be not chest. Snakebite leather used to be flesh wash. But he used the same colors I did, and I was like, oh, I can't believe I didn't think of that. And as soon as like he laid it down, I was like, yeah, okay, that's what I'm doing. And it was I messed around with like one thing around his leg, got my painting style down for the gold that I wanted to do, and then moved on base coating and shading a little bit of everything else, or I could do that night. But for a competition, I'm sorry, the whole thing was like Ulrich Slayer. When I was trying to do the bronzest gold on him, I screwed it up so many times on his legs. I repainted it 3 or 4 times, and I just kind of winged it through the rest of the model. And after, I was like, no, I've got to figure this out because I need to repeat this again and again and again. So I need to figure this out. And I figured out that shining gold mixed with mithril silver highlights mixed with it was Agrax Earthshade. That's the exact bronze color, bronze is gold I want. And it was like, I wish I'd discovered that when I was doing Ulrich Slayer. But again, going back to non-metallic metallics, I'm like, I don't want an Ulrich Slayer situation with this particular entry because I need to bang this out, get this done, and then I got to do 4 more blood claws for the squad entry. So I'm on a real tight time frame right now, and I'm like hoping maybe I can do Darren Latham's challenge, whatever he comes up with.
Oh, right. Yes.
No idea what he's doing. So I'm like, okay, Darren Latham this year, he's optional because I got to do. I'm trying to. LVO's allowing 2 entries per category, so I'm like, I'm doing as many entries.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah. So I've got my 2.
I quite like that actually.
Yeah, I've got my 2.
Know that they,
go ahead. Sorry.
I didn't know that they allowed more than 1 entry for a category.
They just revised the rules. I downloaded the PDF like last week, and I'm like, oh well, that throws a wrench into the Gearworks.
Sure. But I don't know if they always did or not, but I didn't even realize. I think that's really cool though, because you don't have to necessarily pick a favorite. You can bring 2 things, right?
And this is just LVO. This is not Gold Game. And so, but no. They actually I suggested on. I don't really use Discord much, but I went in the Discord. I was like, "Are you guys gonna have a squad category?" And whoever answers like, "No, we're not gonna do it." And then I downloaded the PDF, and they have a squad category. I'm like, "Yes, let's do it."
Yeah.
So I'm entering those.
I can't do squads. I think
the old Sneaky Beaky Blood Angel display I did, and a display of 5 blood claws from 2nd edition.
Yeah. Oh, that is going to be super cool.
Oh, it's going to be fun. I got to bang out 4 of the blood claws in like, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks. I'm just like, great, I'm not going to have a life for 2 or 3 weeks.
Nope. That's a lot of painting.
And then my blood claws aren't even like competition. They're just like my display models.
Yeah. Okay. Well, but you can still bring it though. That's the thing about competition and display painting in general. I don't... At least for me, there is of course a difference in maybe the lengths that you're willing to go to, but it's not like there's no bar from when a piece is like, okay, now it's a competition piece. You can bring anything. Yeah. Well, sure, it needs to be finished, but apart from that, there is no real bar. It's like the bar is mostly in here, right? What you're happy with, and if you bring something because it's cool and you want to show it, and you can always throw your hat in, right? So it's just because I hear a lot that, do you think this is competition level? And it's like, but what does that even really mean?
Yeah,
it's everything kind of is like you see people bring stuff that is all the way from the bottom all the way to the highest levels, right? And you're free to put whatever. If you like it and you want to show it, it's a competition piece.
Well, I've got my competition standard that I do. Like I'm actually you saw what I was doing for LVO. I'm just trying not to spoil it.
Yes.
That's the first time I've done competition level Blood Angels.
So gotcha.
I figured out a formula for like the way that I wanted to do the armor, like bring it all the way up to a really bright highlight, not like 2nd edition, but like bling bling.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, I'm doing that for LVO, and my Space Wolves, all the 5 that I posted over the last, I don't know, month and a half, 2 months. Those are just my display models. Those are just fun to look at, but people seem to react really. They really dig the whole like 2nd edition heavy metal style aesthetic. So I'm like, screw it, I'm going to do that. Because I simply don't have time to do it to the same level as like Logan Grimnar or the Terminator that's down in the right-hand corner.
Okay,
that was my Olden Demon entry from last year, and that was a debacle all in itself. But it somehow made it through.
Yeah.
But to get back to this, to get back to questions, I'm very curious on seeing the way that you paint and everything. Who influenced your painting style?
Ooh, I think it was back in the beginning, kind of like the high level painters that I found were Flamian and Trovarian back then.
Flamian, that guy just he gives the entire miniature painting industry unrealistic beauty standards.
He really does. And then soon after I found Richard Gray. Okay. So they are kind of like the ones that I started, watching content and trying to. I had a fairly long bout of like copycatting where I was just following tutorials and trying to get close to something they did, but with you will always put your own spin on. I think it's yes, of course, you always will. But they were the ones that I kind of. Try to approach in terms of the level of painting and how to render volumes and stuff like that. So they are, I would say, probably the most influential in terms of who I've like directly looked at. Yeah. But I will say that I've spent ages looking on Pinterest and Instagram and so on and so forth. Just scrolling through, looking at cool minis. Oh, I really like this thing from that one. Oh, I really like how these colors interact. Or, oh, that's a really clever way of making a saturated shadow or whatever it is. So I think in terms of like direct inspiration, those are the guys. But I would say that most everyone that could reach my feed would be an inspiration because I would take everything in. So it's I never was too keen on going into the actual factual heavy metal. I always wanted to paint more volumetric but apart from that, everyone was had a bit of inspiration.
Come here.
Don't worry.
You decided to yell. You decided to yell when you come upstairs.
Yeah.
Gizmo decided to say hi.
What a cutie.
All right, no more yelling. He always feels a need to announce his presence when he walks into the room, and he knows what happens when I'm doing a podcast. I pick him up, I put him on the podcast.
Yeah. Well, you should.
So he's kind of like the official cat mascot of the show.
Yeah.
So
everyone needs that.
No, it's fun. It's for me. It's kind of weird because I'm so engrossed in the old Hammer world that when I talk to folks like you who have been in this, like not in a bad way, just a relatively short time or a shorter time. You started out in like maybe the late 2000s, the 10s. It's always strange to hear like a lot of these newer names. Actually, a lot of the names you mentioned, like I've been a big fan of since I got back into this. But I'm used to hearing like, Mike McVeigh, Tim Proud, Kim Cyberg, Neil Thomason, Neil Hodgson, all the guys that like I grew up with, like idolizing and stuff like that. So one thing I find really neat about your work is like especially I'll dive into it because I really want to talk about it. The Dark Angel Azrael that you did. Is it Azrael?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, like you have a very like competition level like Grim Bright style to your stuff, which I think is absolutely fascinating because I've noticed when you start getting into playing with like volumetrics and stuff like that on miniatures, the whole Grim Bright style does come into play, but I haven't seen anybody yet that uses it as extensively as you do. Like I really,
it's probably true.
I really admire your models because like I'm like, okay, that's the kind of level that I would like to get to, and I can actually see how to get to that level. Yeah. And right now it's just
I mean
practice.
Yes, of course, but there is a formula for sure. It's not like nothing is really magic, and it's I do try and do my best to show this is actually how it's created, right? Because of the content that we do. So it's not there's no gatekeeping, and there are no secrets, and there are no only I can do this because it's so special. It is kind of like a formula to follow, and if you do it on everything and be mindful of certain things, well, it gets a specific look. Right?
Yeah. Actually, I have another question for the way that you paint and what you do. It's a newer question that I've introduced to the show. Where'd it go? Do you paint in sub-assembly?
Oh, I do, but I try not to. And what I mean by that is I do as little as possible. So if I can stick a thing on and it's not hindering me too much, I will put it on.
Okay.
If it's something when I put it on, there are areas I can't reach, or like it's getting hard to handle, then I of course keep it off. Like if I want to paint a Space Marine head, for example, and some of them are kind of a bit recessed within the armor.
Oh, like the Cataphractii Terminators.
For example,
boys are really in there.
Yeah, exactly. But even regular like Primaris with the collar, and you can't really get to everything, I will keep the head off. I would keep the gun arm off from a Space Marine, and the backpack off so I can kind of like reach behind. But everything that isn't really like obscuring something, I keep it on there. I don't want to do too much sub-assemblies, and I'm trying to, like, Space Marines are really forgiving because they're kind of blocky, and they have that line anyway, so when you stick that arm on, you can't see where it's glued anyways. But other minis are much more organic. Let's say something like my Troggoth, for example, had all kinds of bits that it needed to be assembled, because if I didn't, the gap filling afterwards, and it would have been terrible because of muscle volumes and stuff like that. So I try not paint too much in sub-assemblies, because I don't enjoy having to gap fill something that I already painted. And also there is something to be said about when you render the light, it needs to be consistent, and you can kind of lose a bit track of that when you do sub-assembly. So suddenly you have one arm that is overall brighter than everything else because
damn it,
it was a dark night or whatever. I don't know, but it's you painted something.
In the United States, we call that driver's arm.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So he's just having one on the wheel and one out. Yeah,
especially here in Vegas with how hot the sun is and how intense it is. Every single person in Vegas with a short sleeve shirt on always gets their left arm cooked, so their left arm's like 3 shades darker than their right arm.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's just I try to keep them as simple as possible, but of course within reason. I want to be able to reach most of everything. Yeah.
I found a lot of people. I've talked to some people like entry level painters and stuff like that. They're like, you paint in sub assembly? I'm like, yeah. Well, why? If you can't see it, who cares? I'm like, because I care, because I know it's there. Yeah. Like I tell this story all the time on the show. My Ulrich Slayer, I didn't quite know how he was going to go together, so I just kind of painted most of the. I painted all. I knew the arm on the Crozius. I could do that. That's not a problem. But like his helmet hand, his hand where he's holding his helmet.
Yeah.
I didn't know how much of the underside of the helmet you'd be able to see when it was put together because I didn't pre-assemble them. But I painted a hole in the helmet. After I put them together, you couldn't see it, but I know it's there just in case. But I was painting him for competition, so I was like, if I ever have this in person, a judge is going to pick it up. He's going to look at it. He's going to flip it upside down, do Rubik's Cube with it, and he's going to look at things like, okay, was this painted? Was this painted? Was this painted? Yeah. He just, if the bottom of the helmet showed, he didn't paint a hole in the helmet. That's, like he could have painted a hole in it.
Yeah.
So the notion of
and I think it's like, so I don't paint things that you can't see. Like if it's fully obscured by a cloak or whatever, I would not paint it. But I do a fair bit of dry fitting as I go. So kind of painting most of it, then blue tacking on, then painting other things in relation to it, picking it apart again, finishing stuff, so on and so forth. And the thing is that a lot of the things that we say, you can't see it. If you can somewhat see it, you still need to paint it to your utmost, right?
Even if it's just like a base color, it may be like your first mid-tone highlight.
Sure, but you have to put some color there, and you have to make it neat, and you have to, if it's textured in some way, you have to put some texture or whatever. You can't just completely forego it, especially it's actually one of the reasons I don't, so I do a primer layer first, but I paint everything with a brush afterwards in a color. Yeah. So that means nothing is just the primer. Yeah. No dark lines, no, if you flip something and you look under a cloak or whatever, nothing is just primer. Yeah. Everything is painted in some way, because this is a finished thing where the primer will always look a bit different than something that is painted on. Yep. So if you turn it or tip it or whatever in a certain way, I don't want a spot to be like, oh, I can see something is different here. So I always paint with a brush over the primer on everything.
No, I don't have a choice on mine because I use white primer for everything.
Yeah, then you definitely don't. Yeah. Yeah.
No, I've seen some people, like I was just thinking, like you can kind of get away with it if you're doing like really volumetric lighting. Like let's say it's a Space Marine running forward in a dark room, and he's got a light. You know, his light source is directly above him, and you just want the top of him illuminated and just little bits of the armor illuminated. That's one thing. I mean, if you shoot the whole thing in black, if you're going for that kind of scene, that for a diorama or something like that, that works. Because you want,
even then the issue is that it's still a finished thing. Yeah, you still get something that is clearly like rattle canned or airbrushed, fully smooth.
Or let me correct myself. Like you can shoot them with primer, like black primer, and then kind of go over it with black paint, so it's all the same black paint finish. But yeah, if it's under his cloak and there's absolutely no light hitting it, yeah, just leave it black. But that's a very specific scenic setup.
Yes. Yes.
That's not something. That's not something you want to do for, you know, if he's meant to be out in the daylight, there is going to be some illumination because of the way light bounces and throws itself.
Yes.
So
it's also a matter of how you want to portray.
Yeah.
Like everyone has a different style. Some people want it like super dramatic, and you can definitely paint to a style that is super dramatic, right? Yeah. Where others want to have more of a globally lit miniature, almost to the point of an heavy metal style, and yeah, that works too. Well, you just need to lean into the style.
There's you're talking about style. There's you know who Pax Acrylica is?
No.
Oh, you need to go check his stuff out. He does amazing conversions. Like you'll instantly see like H.R. Giger, Dune, 80s sci-fi, 70s sci-fi influences and all the stuff that he sculpts and paints. But
he's super cool.
He's got a very high contrast style, so he usually uses a lot of dark paints and like leaves areas completely black or shade or just barely shaded. But the amazing thing is like I always thought he used AK. He uses nothing but oil paints. And yeah, definitely. He was a guest on my show, I think 5 episodes ago. I forgot what episode. I think this is 22. He was episode 17, and I think you'd really dig his stuff. I'll send it to you after the show's over. I think you'll really enjoy his stuff, especially his scratch building it's insane. Like, well, it's just his conversion work is insane. He took what I found him 2.5 years ago. And it was just something random that popped up in my feed on Instagram on my brand account that I run. And I'm like, what the hell is this? This is so cool. And it was a custom, like he cut them up extensively, but it was a custom Blood Angel and a custom Space Wolf Terminator, like before Primaris was ever a thing. Like they were Primaris sized.
Oh,
they were
nice.
big boys. And he's done like all these orc war bosses that are all big and fat and just like a normal orc is like this big. These war bosses are like this big. And that's before like Games Workshop started doing Gahazgal Thraka at the size of like, 2 feet tall. Oh, that's a model.
Oh, that is cool.
I would not want to paint that model.
Well, it's a cool model.
It's just a lot of work. It just doesn't look fun. The thing I've gotten back into painting, like I look at models, like I want to have fun painting them.
Yeah. It should be the goal anyways.
Yeah.
It should.
I think this one might fit for you. What do you think of 90s 90s Eavy Metal Grim Bright box art versus modern era Eavy Metal box art painting?
What I think? Mm-hmm. Oh, so the thing is that
you came in at 18, so like you've kind of your old school stuff is like 2000. So I mean, like all 4 generations. What do you think?
No, it's so because of the boxes and the magazines and whatnot, I actually like the old school look better, especially because I don't think these days the box arts hold up very well. The thing is that we now have so many super talented painters. So this is going to sound really rough, but to me, the box arts today are fine. It's a way to show everything on a model.
Yeah.
But a lot of them are kind of just that. They don't hold any nostalgia for me. And in a sea of amazing paintworks, they're not really standing out either. So they are just a way to show the models, their brand, how they. So it's a look more than anything. I'm not really wowed about a box art paint job, but I can definitely look at like an old school box art style paint job and think this kind of brings me back to childhood memories, right? From the things back then, because back then I was wowed, right? I was like, that is amazing. That is so cool. That looks exactly like I imagined a Space Marine would, right? And it's like, quality wise, it's probably a fair bit worse, but it just holds something special, right? So I enjoy the older looks because I also think they fit the older models better. The older models were less detailed, less realistic, less everything basically. Whereas the newer ones, it's almost like they evolved the models, but the painting didn't really follow. If you get what I mean. So I think that's my immediate take on it. I will say it's not something I thought about deeply.
Yeah. Now I'll give the modern box art style or credit for like how technical it is. There's a I'm curious as I'm 43, so my eyes aren't what they were when I was 16. I can still see very, very well up close. I don't need, like, these are for long distance seeing. So I can still see very well up close. And fortunately, the muscles in my eyes have gotten back to where they were about, 15, 20 years ago. But I'm curious as to, like, with the way GW paints their box art models, like how many of the painters are actually using magnifying glasses, or if they're actually able to naturally see like that. Like, God bless him, Tim Prow.
I couldn't even tell you actually.
Like he did the majority of the second edition 40K box art models, and the majority of the chapter badges were like, if you look at the old Space Wolves, those were all hand painted chapter badges.
Holy moly.
He was insanely consistent, and his hand-painted chapter badges damn near matched what they released with transfers. And
I thought they were transfers, but no, I guess not.
You look at just look at the second edition, like literally all the early second edition Space Wolves. They're every single chapter badge, every single insignia, it's all hand painted because they didn't have transfers for him when he was painting them. And Ironically enough, they didn't make them the right size for the models. But I need to ask Tim next time I talk to him. I'll send a text, DM to him after the show. I'm curious if he ever, like when he was young, if that was his natural eyesight or if he used a magnifying glass. But from a technical standpoint, the modern GW box art minis are really good. However, I think it varies. I have noticed them using Photoshop.
Oh, really? Yeah, I'm guessing they do. Like it would be weird for them not to, because like you can always polish a thing and it's quite easy to do. So something like, instead of like, it's a time thing, right?
Yeah.
You can waste a lot of time making something perfect. And if it's like only ever going to be used there, at least to me, it makes sense. It's not like they're photoshopping something that is impossible, right?
Yeah.
They're polishing something that, to save the time. I will say that I think, at least to me, the box arts also vary a fair bit in terms of quality, to the point where some of them are really good and some of them are really turning me off. For example, seeing one where I'm like, okay, this is clearly rushed. This is clearly, just to get it on the box and sell some models, not because anyone really took care or whatever. And it's like a not great box art will definitely make me not buy it. Then wait for someone to bang it out on Instagram, and I'm then okay. Yeah. Maybe I want to paint this one.
The
anyways,
execution,
right?
like somebody actually does the execution better than what was presented in the box art.
Yeah.
No,
it does happen.
Where I discovered the two things where I discovered the Photoshop tinkering was with the new the wolf priest. I forgot his name.
Okay.
The guy, basically the new Ulrich Slayer. You have the
Stonecolor.
You have the box art model, and then somebody snagged a picture of the thing that, when it wasn't photographed for box art. It was a photograph. It was like a cell phone photograph, and it was like a really close and detailed photograph of it. But I'm like, oh, hey, they photoshopped that out. They photoshopped that out. They photoshopped that out. Ooh. So that's, now I know for a fact that like modern box art stuff is not perfect. It's good.
No.
But they are photoshopping errors out of the painting and the models when they photoshop the box art itself to make the scenery look cool. But they're doing touch-ups on the minis. And I've had some people on Reddit accuse me of this a few times. Like, I don't Photoshop my models. I'll Photoshop hairs out of them. I have a cat, and I live in Vegas. It's dry and dusty here. There's little hairs that get stuck in my models when I clear coat them, and sometimes I miss them. And when I'm editing my photos, when I do photo stacking in Photoshop and I do my color correction, I'll notice a hair. I'm going to Photoshop that thing out of there. But errors and stuff like that, no, I leave them in there.
Yeah,
and it helps me a lot. Like, also like develop my skill. Like, oh crap, I left that too thick. I need to watch that on the next one.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Going over it, I take tons and tons of pictures of my work. So I don't want to say I spend as much time looking at the photos as I do painting, but it's not too far from it. Every time I have a moment and I'm not really doing anything, I will bring a photo of whatever I'm working on, and I'll have a bit of look, and I'll see if I still enjoy the color combinations or the blending or the textures or whatever it is on this model. And I'm looking at it, and sometimes I spot some flaws, or sometimes I realize I need to change something specifically because it's not quite working the way I had hoped or whatever. So I use photos all the time to look at.
I have a question for you regarding photography of models. Like, I spend so much time, so after you get your model done, you photograph it, you start sharing it on the social media and all that stuff. Sure, I tend to spend a lot of time looking at my models on my computer screen, and I'm sitting in front of a giant 32-inch Dell monitor. So I'm used to looking at them on my computer screen where they're like a foot tall.
Massive. Yeah.
And then like just on random, like I'll walk by my display cases that are sitting directly next to me, and I'll look at the model in there. and I forget how small they actually are. And I'm like, this giant glaring error on a thing that's a foot tall on my monitor. I'm like, oh crap, I got to go back and fix that. And I pick the model up. I'm like, oh wait, I forgot you can barely even see that.
Yeah. Yeah,
does that happen to you? Does that happen to you?
Yeah,
as well?
I had it recently. I think it's because we do spend a fair bit of time kind of like zooming onto models and watching them on bigger screens. I had it a bit. I freehanded the text on Ashreel's like shoulder pad and it says Ashriel or whatever. And it looks absolutely fine in hand. There is nothing to point to, but when you take a photo and you zoom and it's like, oh, that looks so wonky. It's like even the because I take my photos with an iPhone.
Yeah, I have a Android I use.
Yeah. So it like the software is kind of sometimes it wants to make an edge where there is none. Like it has this auto
that's a
thing.
specific iPhone thing.
Yeah, so it kind of sometimes it looks worse than it is. Sometimes a texture or even a shadow, like you're painting a Space Marine face. They are like tiny small things.
Yep.
And you then take a photo and when you zoom, it looks like it has a weird kind of crease or something. And when you look on the model, it's like, well, but that is as soft as I can get it.
Yeah.
But because of the software trying to make it into an edge or to a line, that it actually isn't. It looks sometimes a bit off.
Yeah, that's. I mean, just to talk about photography for a second. Now, one thing I've never. Steve Jobs is a personal hero of mine, but I cannot stand anything with an Apple on it. I've been a tech for Apple, like in high school and wherever I worked when we had nothing but Apples in the computer department. I was always the liaison between IT and the graphics because I actually understood both. But I just don't like anything with an Apple on it. But like with Apple phones, the algorithm for the interpolation factor and what they do. I mean, they're making cameras to like photograph people and just normal stuff. But Apple's always had like weird algorithms for interpolation in their software for their cameras. And I don't know if it's something you can turn off or not. And the thing I've really enjoyed about my Google Pixel phones and my Moto X2 before it, the Moto X2 was basically a Pixel. Google's really good about their cameras, and you can turn off everything, so you actually get clean photos. But it sucks, and like my gal's been bugging me. She's a huge photography buff. She's like, honestly, to photograph models, you need a decent camera, like an actual not a point and shoot, but like a full bodied camera. That when it says it's 20 megapixel CCD, it's 20 megapixel. There's no software interpolation whatsoever. Like the CCD in it is, you shoot a raw file of a miniature at hypothetically 30 megapixels and you wind up with like a 50 megabyte file. There's no blurring. There's blurring if you don't know how to use if you don't know how to use the focus right. But what that camera takes is what your model looks like up close. There's no like weird software thing like I think I'm going to make this hard edge. Oh, and then I'm going to make it softer up here. No. Yeah, I think so. Of course. This is why I also don't view like online competitions and in-person competitions at all the same. It's not that I think one is the correct one necessarily, but I think they're two different things. I will very much agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Because
it becomes, also a photography thing.
Yeah.
You need to present your thing, not only like in hand what it looks like, but also what you show people, what you choose to show.
Yeah.
Even without any editing or photoshopping or anything, taking a good picture is tough.
Oh, my space wolves, my competition level wolves don't photograph well because the contrast in the armor tends to get washed out. Whereas, like, if you saw my Logan Grimnar in person, he's got a lot more contrast going on. But for the color correction, like for the contrast and all that, the shadows and highlights and all that stuff that I have to adjust in Photoshop, Unfortunately, it gets washed out. Like I can leave it in there, but the photo is going to look very flat because I can't play with the lights and the darks in the photo. So I'm still trying to figure out a good way. Like I actually started messing with black background photography, and it helps with the contrast, but it presents a whole new area of like issues I've got to fix color wise before the photo I can show the photo
because
off.
I find that colors look very different.
Yeah.
So I try to be completely frank. I don't care too much about the photographing. I would actually rather take a photo and the mini. Of course, they look good on photos too. I'm not trying to kid anyone, but I would rather that when you then see it in hand, it's even better.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in polishing something. So I would rather take a photo underneath my painting lamp at my desk, put it on socials, let people have a snapshot or whatever. Of course, I try and present it in a way that it looks good. I wouldn't show a crappy looking model. Of course, I'm not. Yeah, but it's very much on my mind that I'm not trying to show something that it isn't.
Yeah.
Right. Because I want people to be, wowed again when they see it, when they actually get to see it in a cabinet or hold it in hand. I want them to be wowed and thinking, wow, now I can really tell the scale of this. I can really see the colors for what they actually are. And I see everything working together. It's quite important to me. So
I have noticed that
having
photography can hide certain things.
Yes. Yeah. And it will, even if you aren't like specifically trying to. Non-mets, for example, they always look different on a camera. They shine a bit more because of the way an LCD screen works and the way it takes in light and so on and so forth. The same with OSL. OSL will glow on any photo. In real life, it needs specific lighting. Otherwise, it doesn't. Right. Well,
there was a Golden Demon winner that I saw. Like he did the Skeleton Lich King on this like throne, and he painted it mostly in like blacks and whites. And seeing it online and seeing the way Games Workshop photographed it for the winning photography, it has to be lit in a very specific way. That piece was actually at LVO here in town in January. It was not lit right. It didn't look good. And it's not that he didn't paint it well. It was just lit completely wrong, and everything looked like a mid-tone.
Gotcha. Yeah, well, I mean, if you don't put good lighting on these tiny models, all of them will look bad. I guarantee it. It's you need some good lighting because they're so small, so otherwise you can't see anything. Even if you put all the contrast there, like no lighting will absolutely kill it. Yeah. Of course.
I've got one more question for you before we jump into your Instagram, and
yeah, sure.
I've actually got to take a break because I've got to use the old white throne in the bathroom. Given where you are, and you've touched on this numerous times in this episode, and we've talked about it, and I think you've given some very, very good advice thus far. But I just kind of want to roll it into one question. What advice would you give painters just starting out to help them avoid the pitfalls that you've experienced?
Ooh, so my number one advice is actually surround yourself with people that are invested in the painting side of it. I cannot state how much it mattered to me when I found others through community in terms of I wanted to be as good or better than, or try to approach, various levels. I had people surrounding me every day who talked about miniatures and their painting. Yeah. So even if they are not like directly helping you with an issue, sometimes you pick something and it's like, because they had an issue with colors in that way, and you're thinking, oh, actually, I did too. Or sometimes you know a thing, but you don't really know that you know it. So when someone asks a question, I don't understand why it's doing this. Now you're already priming yourself to constantly think about whys and hows. Yeah. So I can't state how much it kind of mattered to me as a painter. Finding community and sharing and being like always immersed into painting in some way.
Yeah.
Even if not directly, then indirectly.
Well, there's an old saying that I'm very fond of, is that you are the sum of the 5 people you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
And positivity.
And I fully believe it.
Positivity breeds positivity.
Yes.
And
yes.
you know, you surround yourself with the people that you look up to, or that you want to be like, or that you admire in some way, and
yes,
it will lift you up, and you'll progress a lot easier than being around constant negativity, because that negativity breeds negativity. So in your mind, you're constantly telling yourself, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this. Whereas what you just said, no, surround yourself with the people that you admire, surround yourself with the people that are enthusiastic, that lift you up. And, you know, instead of thinking, I can't do this, you're thinking, I can't do this. I'm having troubles with this, but you know what? I can ask somebody about this. I know I can do it if I either keep at it or somebody points it out in the right way.
Yeah, and it's also a matter of like, this is kind of like the painting hobby itself is very insular, right? You just sit at your desk and you paint a thing, and you're constantly kind of doubting yourself, because let's face it,
I never doubt myself.
No, right? Yeah, it's just a matter of like, only one person is the best in the world. That's just how it is, and only a few people are like close to the best in the world, and at the rest of us, even like everyone is like not quite there. So you always have something or someone that is better. So you can always, if you wanted to, look at the negative. That is, I'm not good enough, which is not the truth, because we're not on the same track in terms of racing.
No,
these are everyone is on their own parallel track. So and before you kind of find out that, well, everyone is doing their thing and trying to kind of, you know, reach into other people's spheres, you're not against anyone. You're trying to share this you know, isolated thing with others. As soon as you kind of break into that, I think you will find the most joy. And well, the number one way to paint more is to enjoy it.
Yeah.
So it's
briefly talking about, I mentioned to you, I just had a rough day. I'm trying to think how to condense this. I ended up making a post having to announce, like, my brand is not closed. I'm still producing products. And it just spiraled with people like going off about things that I wasn't even talking about, and telling me, dictating business advice to me and stuff like that. And I'm finding that the responses I am giving to people, I'm like, I'm not growing this anymore because I don't enjoy it. I don't have any passion for it. I don't enjoy it. I don't want to be here. Like, I will still continue to make your parts for you until I sell the business, but just know that I have moved on in my life. I have moved on to something that I have passion for again, that I constantly learn about, that is positive, that is uplifting, that I'm excelling in. And I'm not really making any money from it right now, but I know I will eventually. And
of course.
There was a response I gave and people couldn't understand this. They couldn't understand the fact that, like, it's like, I don't enjoy this anymore, so that I'm not doing it. You're telling me I have to do this to make you stuff for you. That sounds like a you problem. Like, you need to
I think, no, you need to enjoy it. And
when you enjoy something, you grow just so much faster and easier. Of course.
And it's like, for most everyone, it's a hobby anyways.
Yeah.
So, and that's why we only briefly mentioned, but pick the models that you like.
Yeah.
Don't buy one because, you think you need this one, or you should buy it or whatever. Pick the ones that you like. And even when you start painting, if you hate painting it, stop.
Yeah.
Pick another one. You should be enjoying it. Like, not every second, maybe not every session, but on a broader timeline, this is a hobby. You should be enjoying it. There is no reason for you to waste any time hating doing a thing that should be relaxing, right?
Well, and for us older guys, I didn't ask you your age, but as I've said, I'm 43. I've only got, if I'm lucky, another 35 to 40 years at most on this planet.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I don't want to dedicate myself to something that I don't like doing. And you just said it, paint what you enjoy.
Yeah.
Like I sit around and paint a whole bunch of second edition or Rogue Trader stuff because I enjoy it.
Yeah, and you should paint it the way you want to, and of course you take advice but also ignore the haters and surround yourself with the people you like and that you vibe with and whatnot, and
Now, mind you,
there are lots of
as a painter, it's a good idea to challenge yourself.
Yes, of course, yeah. But also challenging yourself should be part of the joy, right? Mm-hmm. It's not because people do puzzles too, right? Or crosswords or whatever. You can do, you can enjoy the struggle. Mm-hmm. You can enjoy the making a puzzle come together, but it shouldn't be you hating it. If you don't enjoy playing chess, don't play something else.
Yeah.
If you hate not being able to beat that final boss every time you get to whatever, quit. Don't, if you still enjoy the challenge of it, well, you keep doing it. But as soon as you kind of get into that mode of every time, even when I step away from it, I'm kind of fretting going back. Don't. Then paint something else. Choose other colors. Choose other mediums.
Yeah.
Choose other, there is so much to dive into. You can go so deep in the hobby that is miniatures, right?
Yep.
From scratch building to scale modelings to acrylic paintings, weatherings. It could be dioramas. You don't even need to have any models on. You could do full landscape.
Crochet yourself a space marine.
Yeah, you even could do that, right? I'm not even joking. Pick the things that you like and that you feel are bringing value, and surround yourself with people you enjoy being close to.
Yeah. So, just where I have my display painting. That's what I do the majority of the time, but when a competition comes up that I like, that I want to enter, I'm going to go. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go get something I normally wouldn't paint, and I'm going to put 110% into it.
Sure.
And by the time I'm done, I'm going to hate the model because I've looked at it for a month.
Yeah. But most of the process you probably enjoyed, right? 6
months down the line, I pick it up and go, "Holy crap! I actually did a good job on this thing." But also, it pushes you with the base of knowledge that you have at that point in time to apply that base of knowledge the best you can. And then in a year's time, when you sit down and if you do another competition piece a year later, you're going to have leveled up so much from that it's a good reminder to show where you were at that point in time at the best you can do.
Yes, absolutely. I enjoy going into a cabinet and, looking at models that I have painted before and okay, so this is the path. This is what led from, A to B, right?
Yeah. I mean, I just moved it out of my main display case because that's actually filled with models that I've done in the last year and a half. And it was a really cool achievement. But the model I pulled was a Space Wolf that I did for a competition back in 2009. I took first place for it. And at the time, that was the best I could do. And I look at it now and it's not bad, but at the same time, I'm looking at it going, wow, I really half-assed some of this stuff. I would not do that now ever, period.
No.
This could be this could be that. And it's just, I mean, this is, oh God, almost 20 years ago.
Yeah,
but,
soon.
Hang on to your models.
Yes.
Because they're a great reminder of how far you come in painting. And
I agree. I think so too.
Even after 3 or 4 years, hang on to everything you painted at the start, and then look at what you're doing now. If you're doing it seriously, and you'll notice a massive difference. And it's a nice reminder that I've said it before on the show. Your worst pieces also tend to be your best pieces because they teach you the most about what you do. Because you can pick out everything you hate about your worst piece. Your best piece, you don't know why. It's your best piece at that point in time, but it didn't really teach you anything.
No, it's true. I think the ones that I love the most are the ones where I actually kind of, went out of comfort zone and struggled a bit and pushed some things. And it was hard in some some cases you didn't like enjoy certain areas, but
you wanted to take it out and use it as target practice.
yeah, I mean, kind of, yeah. But in the end, the finished result, it's just the satisfaction of like having everything come together. And even though you struggle through it, you know, you have something to be proud of in the end, right? Mm-hmm. So and I think the model should be that, especially if you want to have them as competition pieces, because competition can be super like fickle. Mm-hmm. You can bring your best work that you love so much, and a judge can on the day say, nah.
Yeah, but you're at the mercy of the judges.
You are, which means they should have inherent value to you, mm-hmm. regardless of placing, right? Because that is, you know, the safest way for you to not turn bitter.
Yep. Okay, so we had a whole bunch of fun conversations about painting, and we kept trailing off about painting, and that is what the point of this show is. And anybody who watches this show on a normal basis knows that once we go off on a tangent, we just go with it. So to dive back in, let's jump into your Instagram feed, and let me pull up my interact window. Let me move this over so I can see us talking. Okay, so the one piece that I did want to talk about first and foremost that I absolutely fell in love with, like I saw you painting this and I was just like, this thing's amazing, is your Asriel.
Yeah.
This is probably one of my favorite pieces you've done. A big one for me is because this is like the embodiment of competition level Grim Bright painting.
Yeah. I think it's also, well, it did turn into like more of a project than I intended. Uh-huh. So what I mean is that I kind of wanted, I had already painted a couple of competition models.
And as you said, it's supposed to be a comfort model.
Yeah, it kind of was supposed to be, right? And it's because there is something comforting in going back to Space Marines, because they are kind of, like their shapes are fairly easy. They have a lot of like lines you can edge highlight, and mm-hmm. you can really make them pop. You like, because the shapes are easy, or somewhat easy. It's also not the toughest ones to kind of push a volumetric highlighting on, and mm-hmm. like it's almost like a bread and butter kind of model, right? Space Marine. So. Not too much of like, you know, for example, some people struggle a bit with let's say skin tones, getting the right colors, the variations, everything. And it's like, well, but this dude is just in green armor, so I get to pick my favorite greens and I get to paint some green panels, right? It's mm-hmm. like, so to me, it was supposed to be one of those models where, you know what, I want to make some content. It's been a while since I painted a Space Marine. Let's pick this one, because I had this in my mind for a while. And in the beginning I was thinking, you know what, I'll do this one. I'll do a really simple, overgrown, foresty kind of base. Mm-hmm. And then it kind of evolved from there. Into, I'd say, probably one of my better pieces, right? So, which would be natural because it's one I just finished, right? And it's like I'm not done improving. It's mm-hmm. Every model is improvement in some way. But I think this one, like in particular, speaks to a fair few people, like the fan base of Space Marines and the color choices, and mm-hmm. It is like quite striking in the way that it is rendered. So I think it hits most of the marks in general.
This is one of those very few resculpts that I think is equal to the original.
Yeah.
I mean, that 90s Asriel in metal, like I've actually got him I need to repaint him, but he's like one of the most iconic 40K, second edition 40K miniatures they ever sculpted.
Yes.
And they did an excellent job at like this resculpt. They kept what made the original so special.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's the same aesthetic, right?
And even being Primaris, like he doesn't look Primaris. He looks like a Space Marine, like a Mark.
Yes.
Like I don't like Primaris Marines. Yeah. He looks he looks like a modern Mark 7 sculpt.
Yes, kind of. Yeah, I think it's a lot of the detailing.
Oh, the fact he's got a Mark 7 helmet too.
Yes, of course, but also the fact that he's like he has so much detail, and the robes are helping too. So you kind of, he doesn't fall too much into like the Primaris aesthetic. Not that I mind it personally, because I'm not an old school painter anyways, but I agree with you. I think he's very much a modern version of the old one.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it was a fun project too.
This is one thing I actually asked John in the last episode, was just to give people an idea, like how long did it take you to paint this? Like a rough estimate.
I think it was probably 120 hours in.
Oh wow.
In all of it, something like that. There was a bit of like sculpting on the base and building and so on and so forth. And because I ended up adding these two watches too, it kind of dragged the project on a little bit. So, cool. I would say, yeah, probably.
Does he come with both those watchers, or was the one with the skull an additional one? The
one with the skull is from the what are they? The Terminator, the ones with the shields.
Oh, I know. The Deathwing. I know the company you're talking about.
Deathwing. So they are. It had like a beacon thingy and one of those watches in it. So I just brought that one too. Yeah, so it's I try to share as much, progress as kind of like makes sense for people not necessarily on the Patreon, so they still get a glimpse into, what is going on, what his process look like in terms of, okay, so it started out as a black thing, right? And then you go through the steps of, okay, painting some armor, painting some ropes, painting some weapons, painting some details, creating a base, so on and so forth, right?
No, I love the non-metallic you did on the sword, and
yeah, I'm happy I repainted it. So if you have some of the older photos, it's actually different there. Yes.
Yeah.
It's kind of a bit more like scratchy and wavy.
Yeah.
And it's not that it doesn't look good, but I came to a certain point where I was looking at it and thinking, yeah, but it just doesn't really fit with the rest of the model.
Yeah, I think
so. I kind of had to.
It's like less is more.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. So the more simple, and also I wanted it to fit with the other non-mets on the model. So I had to, even though I repainted it, I had to sand it back and repaint it a final time. But it worked.
Am I the only person who thinks the bolters are getting too skinny?
No, they are a bit skinny.
Okay.
And I think it's especially bad when it's like in this angle and it's held in one hand. They look a bit
really narrow.
Yeah.
I noticed that on the piece I'm doing for LVO, and also like the Space Wolves I bought. Like they're just getting skinnier and skinnier and skinnier. And I thought I'm like, I miss the old chunky second edition bolters, the big rectangles.
Soon they will just look like an AR-15, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. And it's going to be like impossible to paint and impossible to clip out of the sprue, because as soon as you clip it, it's going to snap in half.
Exactly. Yeah,
I think like with the modern bolters, my frustrations with them is they've just gotten so overly detailed.
Yeah, it's true. Painting this one was a bit painful because
he's still got his combi weapon.
Yes. Yeah. So this, and I mean, it's just because they have like an eagle on the side. They have like the extra lines and everything, and because they're slimmer, like you need to have a quite a good brush control. Otherwise, it just doesn't work out.
Yeah, I've noticed that when I did that Primaris that I just finished, that Space Wolf kit bash I did. I was like, oh, okay, this I'm really gonna have to pay like really close attention to how thick I'm making these lines.
Yeah.
And it didn't turn out exactly like I wanted, but at the same time, it just was a learning experience.
Yeah, of course.
So, stupid Primaris took me a week and a half to paint. It never take me that long to paint a Space Marine for just sticking in my cabinet.
Yeah.
I mean, go ahead.
I mean, if you had fun, it should be.
He started a drag.
Yeah. I find that it depends on the projects for sure.
Yeah.
But I find that they really start to drag at about 50 hours for me, which means, you can see that the 120 is a lot if it starts dragging after like if 50 or something like that. So I try to see if my projects can go somewhere around 100 hours, preferably slightly under.
Yeah, the dragging phase just sucks because like it's so hard to give anything more than like 80%, and you're just like, you get so little done in one evening. Like you're like, I banged out this whole body in like 2 evenings, man, and now this arm is taking me 4 days. Yeah. And this is the last piece for him. Are you kidding me?
I kind of have a process where, in the beginning, you'll be excited anyways, right? So you, kind of ride that momentum, and you just paint from or at least I do, paint from the focal point out, basically. And then at some point you get into, let's say about, I'd say 50% into a project, you kind of get into that, now I've painted most of the exciting things and I need to paint the rest of it. So from, I'd say maybe 50 to 70%, I kind of, have to just grind a bit. When I'm missing about 30%, I make a list of what is needed to be done. Because it gives me a way to, even though I feel like I haven't progressed much, I can take a thing and it's like, okay, but I did that. Yeah. Nice. So almost like every paint session, you get to take a thing or two, and it kind of helps you in terms of like motivation. Then the final 10% is just like smooth running because now everything comes together.
Yeah. That's not a bad strategy. I like that idea.
Yeah.
That's a really neat idea.
It's at least how I do it. I mean, of course, if you're painting maybe only, I don't know, 5-10 hours on a model, it doesn't really make any sense doing it. But for longer projects, even I'd say 20-30 hour projects, I would recommend when you're about 70% in, make the list so you don't miss anything, so you can keep a bit of motivation still, and then tick things off.
One thing I've started doing lately, and it's my most hated area to paint, or thing to paint on a Space Marine, the backpack. Yeah. The one thing about the new Primaris Marines I like the new backpacks because GW really simplified them. I'm so used to painting second edition or Rogue Trader backpacks that I get to those things, I'm like, especially second edition, because they added all these they added 4 tubes on the back. And me being so obsessive, I have to paint every single ridge of the tube and then go through and paint in every recess so everything is black lined properly. But the thing I've done is when I get done painting the body, I paint the backpack first because I can't stand painting backpacks. It's like the most grindy thing in the world. I get the backpack done, the arms go like nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. unfortunately saved the backpack for last on Asriel, and it was one of those things where it was good that it was on that list, because otherwise it would still be black.
Yeah. No, it's done. It's I dotted it with green paint. It's done. It's done. No,
yeah,
it's done.
right.
Leave me alone.
Exactly.
So your Nurgle guy, I don't even know what this thing's called. Lord of
Plagues.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a very soft spot for both fantasy and 40K Nurgle stuff, especially like big guys like this. And I was eyeballing this while you were talking, and one thing I really like about it is like the base on it, the way that you've painted the goop or the wood or whatever the heck it's supposed to be. It has like a very Van Gogh feel to it.
Yes.
And everything on this, I mean, like this is Grim Bright at like a massively high competition level, but everything has like a Van Goghish and also a very soft feel, which is not easy to achieve. And I love the warmth of everything on this.
Yeah, this is a funny project.
And this is a multi-picture one. Woo!
Yeah. I actually shared a back on this one, huh? I have to do it sometimes just so that people believe me when I say that I do paint the backs too, because we tend to only show the front sides. But I of course also paint the backs. I think I really wanted it to be organic. Like it had like all the tentacles. It has a lot of flow to it. Even like the horns are kind of like flowy, and I wanted everything to kind of feed into that. So that's why I painted the base in this kind of almost like a melty, swirly pattern. Like it's kind of like almost like a lava rock when it kind of sets, it becomes this pattern of kind of overlapping shapes. So I tried to make it look like that. That's why it's kind of almost like it's half swallowing the skulls on there, and has tentacles coming out and all kinds of things. Yeah, this was a project where I really tried to push some things in terms of sculpting too, where like doing a very organic base, sculpting like normally he stood with an axe.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't like the way that axe is kind of like going in front of the stomach part. So normally he's holding in the tentacle arm is a normal arm, gripping an axe that is then resting in the other hand.
Okay.
So it's a resculpt of or kit bash or whatever we want to call it.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you did conversion work on this, because like 80 Wood and I were talking to numerous other guests who are in a conversion work as well.
Yeah.
The best conversions are the ones that you can't tell are converted. Like this looks like something you could go buy off the shelf.
Yes. Yeah, that's definitely the goal. I think I shared at some point a photo of the model itself where it was just base sculpted and the dude himself reworked. I can't remember, but I think I shared it on socials too. Not only the
different model.
Yeah. It's because sometimes I have projects that are kind of side by side.
Oh, hang on, let me see.
So to not kind of burn out too much.
Oh yeah, there we go. It's another one.
You can see here where I've painted a fair bit less of it, and the hand is empty, so I haven't yet put the
bell
string with the bell. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's kind of funny. Like, well, I just noticed like it's almost like the method you use for the greens on this is almost the same method that you use for Azrael.
It is exactly the same.
Okay.
No, I say exactly the same, which is not true, but it's very, very close. So I didn't put any purple into the shadows on this one, and I think I picked a slightly more like yellowy green highlight for it, but the base in terms of color is the exact same. And that's why I chose it, because I tested it out on this one where the color scheme is not that important. Like, it's not like you miss the mark, right?
Yeah.
It's not like, but if you accidentally paint your ultramarine gray, someone will say, but that's the wrong color, right?
You accidentally painted him yellow.
Yeah. So I didn't want to risk, trying to figure out a recipe like for Asriel. I needed it to be, Dark Angels green. So it is almost exactly the same. Yeah. Yeah. Good pickup.
Yeah. That comes from years of color matching with print.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. It is exactly that. Yeah, you can see there is the sculpted version. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that is
So
so
this
cool.
is just a photo of me. So it's not like a massive conversion or anything. It's like,
well, no, it's just enough to really, again, to me, this, I'm not super familiar with a lot of the modern Games Workshop models, but the way that you did this looks literally like an off the shelf model. Like this is just like a special edition variation that Games Workshop released.
Yeah. And it's also like, it's a way to kind of make mine different. So if someone else brings this exact model, mine looks a bit different.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing. You saw what I was doing for LVO. His pose is much different than the box art, and his base is much different than the box art. The original model I thought was cool as hell, but I'm just like, nah, you know what? I want to do something different. I want to make mine look different because in case somebody brings one, I want it to be different. So yeah, I completely understand that mentality. And pretty much any of my competition models now, I try to really just make them different than their original iteration. Like Grimnar, the different thing I did with him, the first edition Grimnar was I changed the pose of his bolter arm because I didn't like it down by his side. So I moved it up and put some green stuff underneath his arm to move out the arm just a little bit. So he's actually he's looking down the line of sight on his arm and the bolter.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that is very cool. I mean, I like and
just because you did,
it's not that
you did my boy.
Yeah. I mean, and this one, it's a funny thing because most of my projects are, in some way or the other, turning special to me. Not only because you kind of put all the time and the effort and everything, but also because a lot of them taught me something, right? Where I brought this one to Golden Demon in Germany on a very different base that was frankly not good. And then I ended up taking it home and clipping it off its original base, putting it on.
Careful.
Yeah, it's scary.
Oh yeah.
And then touching it up and fixing some like minor stuff that I wanted to have fixed, and then I brought it once more, and luckily for me, they liked it then better.
Yeah,
so a lot of
because I noticed them on the base. You're obviously of the same thought as I am. The box of skulls that Games Workshop released is probably one of the best things they have ever released. Ever.
It's kind of like a meme now where I tend to say, well, it's not a finished piece without a skull on the base, and it's not quite true. I don't put it on everything, but I do put it one here or one there or whatnot. Just grinding through that box I paid for.
Yeah, you're probably still on your original box, aren't you?
Yeah. Yes, very much.
And I love the fact that like you buy a box of skulls, that thing's going to last you a real long time.
Yep.
Unless you're doing unless you're doing a bunch of corn stuff, then you'll go through that box pretty quick. Yeah, I normally don't like non-metallic metallics.
Yeah.
Just with Blood Angels, but I think this turned out excellent. I like how soft the contrast is versus like the very stark contrast that people tend to get in with golds. you know, like the biggest areas I really dig are like where it feels very balanced is from his pecs all the way down to his legs. You know, you kept things very soft.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Almost like instead of his armor being brought out to like a chromed gold, it's almost like a brushed, like a slightly I don't know, like satin or matte brushed gold. Yes,
it is less chromy at least. Yeah, absolutely is. And I will give full credit to Richard Gray for starting his version, which was my inspiration. I don't think he ever finished his, but he did like the helmet and chest and some leg and whatnot, which was my inspiration. This was my first competition model, so it's
really?
Absolutely a special thing to me.
Your first competition model, and you just came out the whole swinging.
Yes.
I'm going to talk about one more, and then I have a question for you.
Absolutely.
Or I'm going to have you talk about one more, and then I have a question for you. Oh, that's so damn cool. I really like this guy. I don't know if you've ever finished. Oh, hell yeah, the Warcraft 2 work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I have a real soft spot for dwarves, and someone who can pull off a chaos dwarf like this, just like long distance high five.
Yeah, I can't remember if I never shared it, but I did finish this. I think I shared it because I did finish this one. I added some weathering to the armor, like some crackings and whatnot. And this one was like one where I wanted to paint something red. So sometimes like it's a bit of cycling through colors. So not getting stuck too much on, so I'll only paint blue. So sometimes I'll like, now I've painted something blue. I need to paint something different where I can use some different recipes. And also because I'm mindful that it goes as a content thing, right? Where only doing ever the same one thing is not going to really be that exciting. Yeah. So I try to cycle recipes, and I try to not do like the same exact colors for skulls every time, or not the exact same colors for a red boulder or whatever. So I kind of tweak it a bit so it fits with whatever model I'm painting. Same with golds and steels and whatnot.
You know, the funny that you mentioned about painting red. A lot of people, they're terrified of red and they're terrified of yellow. And once you get the hang of doing it, they're really easy to colors to work with. And going back and painting, just like when I paint up Blood Angels, that's like my comfort food. I love working with the Pro Acryl reds and oranges that I work with. To me, they are just so easy to work with. It's just just comfort food. I mean, it's like literally just going and grabbing and eating a whole bag of chips. It's just like, yep, I did it. I ate that whole bag of chips. I'll do it again.
I think it's because a fair few brands have tricky to use reds.
Well, reds just tend to be a thin pigment as it is.
Yeah, and but when you get the ones that you like to handle, it becomes much more enjoyable. Yeah. And also when you kind of crack the code, red is a bit different because it easily turns either pink or orange. Yeah. So you need a large amount of midtone with only a bit of highlight and a bit of shadow on. Otherwise, it doesn't look red, right?
And there's a lot of people who are fearful, and for what I was experimenting with for LVO entry, like I was like, all right, now how the hell do I work? Why can't I can't think of the color? Give me 2 seconds. It's gonna irritate my soul.
Yeah, just grab it.
How do I work ice yellow into this?
Yeah.
And it's going from the reds to the oranges to ice yellow, but it's more competition-esque than it is Grim Bright-esque, like second edition Grim Bright. It's like, nope, okay, I'm going with that final edge highlight of ice yellow. I got this. Yeah. It's not turning pink. We got this.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a fine balance.
Yeah.
It's tricky. But when you get it, it's wow, but that is true for everything, right?
Yeah.
As soon as you get it, of course it's easy, right?
Oh, funny thing is I still have difficulties with is like blacks and grays, like getting it to look the way I want to look, but
Yeah.
people seem to like how I do it, so I guess I'm doing something right.
Yeah.
So with this guide done, question I've been asking people that on the show when we go to their Instagram is, what is your favorite model? And I want you to talk about it.
From my own collection?
Yeah. That you've posted.
Yeah, for sure. My favorite model is my Troggoth. It's the troll is absolutely my favorite.
This boy?
Yes. It's very special to me because it was a project where I pushed a lot of color. It is very organic. Everything is like textured on it. All the skin is like a stipple texture on. All the little boils and barnacles and whatnot has stripes and striations on. And it was something that I well, quite honestly, I dreamt about painting it in the color scheme. So I picked up the model and I picked the colors up, and then I painted. I started the series I did on the Kursling to test the colors out, so that I knew how they interacted, so I could use them on this specific model afterwards. So this one it's not my best performing piece, but it's the one that I love the most. It is very special to me because I put a lot of time and effort, and it came from kind of like a vision that I wanted to, bring to life. And it's kind of like, it's not that I painted mine the same way, but it's almost like like Maxime did one that won a Slayer sword, and it's probably my favorite model ever.
That was that this year's Slayer sword?
No. It was
Or was it last year?
2000. No. It's years back, 2019 or two. I can't remember exactly. I think
I swear somebody
something like that.
won a Slayer sword this year for this, or like last year or two for this.
No. Spiel last year. Dave won with Troggoth King.
Okay.
Yeah. But Maxime won with his version, which was like a repost, like this exact model, but repost, and it's a fantastic model that I love dearly. So I wanted to create one myself. So this one is the one I like the most from my own collection, for sure.
It's funny you mentioned like some of the models that are your favorites or personal favorites. They don't always do well when you post them.
No.
I was talking, Goblin Green and I were talking one night about that. I think it was right after I got done with my my Wolfguard Space Marine. That model turned into such a slog. He was not fun to paint. I just don't like him.
Oh no.
Like I'm like, I hate this model. I'm glad it's done. I just got it done. He was a test model. I'm like, I'm gonna see him through to the end. And like everybody friggin' loved him. I'm like,
yeah,
of course.
Yeah.
And then like one of my personal favorites, like all three of the Mentor Legion that I posted. But I love and adore the Mentor Legion, and the way that I paint them is it took me a good decade to figure out how to do it. But they're three of my favorite models. But like my one of my old painting teachers, he had a very specific way of painting Mentors, and I finally figured out how to emulate it. And it's only one of those. It doesn't appear well in photographs. If you saw it in person, it's a different story. But again, there's three of my favorite models that I've done, and they just did very poorly.
Yeah.
So it's ironic that sometimes the things that you hate the most do the best, and the things you love the most, like you get 3 likes on it. You're like, what?
Yeah, and it's even the same with competition, right? And that's why I keep on saying it's so important that you enjoy the journey. It's so important that you're happy with what you produced. Sure, you can be thinking, oh, I could do this better and that better, or whatever. That's okay, but you should be happy with what you produced. Because if not, you're hinging too much on a judge on a given day telling you, yes, this is good enough, right?
Yeah.
So you don't want that to happen. So you kind of need to have it come a bit from within. Otherwise, it's at least real dangerous. You risk, burning out or hating your painting because of it. Right?
So I am going to shut the podcast down for the night because it's like 3:00 here. So we're the end of the video.
Yeah, damn, it's late.
Yeah, well, it's talking. This is what I do now. So talking to European guests, I'm like, yep, I'm just my sleep schedule is going to suck for the next couple of days. I give up. With the end of the show, this is the shout out section. Is there anybody you'd like to give shout outs to?
Yeah, I think I want to give a shout out to Bruce. So I will give a personal shout out to Bruce, my partner in crime, who's doing the Get Good community and Patreon with me, and he's like a massive support, and I couldn't do it without him. Also, coincidentally, he is turning into a heck of a painter. So yeah, he's really moving up. He's hungry for improvement, and it shows. Yeah. And then I, of course, want to shout out the entirety of the community. We have so many good people that are like massively invested into painting for improvement, either for themselves or for competitions. They are insanely helpful, and the spirits are always good. It's so a massive shout out to those guys.
That's awesome to hear.
Yeah.
So, and as I told you earlier, this end of the show now features a mystery question. So would you like to ask the question for the next guest, or do you want to do the mystery question first?
I can do the mystery question first, then we can end it with my question.
So the mystery question is from Blood is Medium, and you know him. He asks, what is your favorite Italian pastry?
Ooh, I'm going to this is going to be a real letdown, because I don't really eat any pastries.
Oh, okay. I forewarned him that might be an odd one, but the mystery question does not have to be hobby related. The mystery question is whatever you want to ask.
Yeah, especially because I have the one that I thought of was almost the same, not quite, but almost the same.
Oh, what is it?
But my mystery question is, what is your guilty pleasure food?
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Guilty pleasure food.
Yeah. So unfortunately, I don't eat too many pastries, and if I do, I am Danish, right? So I will
eat
Danish pastries. Yeah.
I love apple danishes. They're so good.
Yep, they are. Yeah, but I don't know. I'm more a, licorice kind of guy. So I like my salty and
that's
bitters.
one candy I've never been able to get into is like black licorice. I kind of liked red licorice when I was a kid, but I've tried it recently. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, no, I think it's a Danish thing mostly, or at least a Scandinavian thing.
I don't like black licorice, but I like Jaeger.
Yeah, but they also don't taste the same, really.
Okay.
Jaeger is more like a sweet herbal thing.
I was liking it kind of like licorice cough syrup because it's so thick.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, so I'm sorry if it is a bit of a letdown, but
oh no, that'll be a fun one. And the cool thing about doing these like so far in advance, like people can't cheat and watch them, so they have no idea what's going to be asked.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that amazing. Like the questions are getting away from hobby related questions now. And I mean, barring something.
Oh, I thought it was supposed to be.
No, I from this point forward, I'll tell the person it doesn't have to be hobby related, but
right, okay.
Barring something that's like completely inappropriate, it's fair game.
Right, of course. Yeah,
What is your favorite cat? What do you think of what do you think the inside of Oscar the Grouch's garbage can looks like from Sesame Street?
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead.
Do you think the moon landing was a hoax?
Oh, yeah. That's opening a can of worms right there, man.
Okay. Yeah, especially because it's the ending segment, so maybe we don't want to present that one, huh?
So I'm going to go ahead and shut the podcast down for the night, but stick around because I wanted to talk to you a little bit afterwards. So, but thank you for taking the time to come on. I'm honored when people, when folks like yourself, I like Golden Demon winners actually come on the show because I get to hear a perspective that's like well above my pay grade. And so very few get there. And I don't think I'm ever going to, I might get there one day, but it's not what my goal is. I just enjoy painting.
Yeah.
And to have folks like you on the show, it's such an honor for you to take the time out of your day to do this. So thank you very much for coming on.
No problem. And thank you.
Yeah. And I'm glad that I've created a platform where I can bring people on like you and, have these conversations and just, get silly with the questions and just go off on tangents that we spend like 30 minutes on that have nothing to do with the question. I don't care. It's my show.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So I'm going to shut this down for the night. Thank you guys for watching and listening. Here's a couple more videos. I have no idea what's going to be there because I don't think this episode is going to come out until January and I have to do an Ultramarines tutorial and I'll get to that eventually. But thank you guys for watching and listening and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.